For centuries, Europe was dominated by Western European powers such as Great Britain, France and Germany. The latter two still play the leading role within the European Union today. However, in the shadow of the Western Europeans, the rise of a new European superpower has been emerging for some years, which could shape the fate of Europe in the future. We are talking about Poland. While Germany and France have long rested on their laurels and vacillated politically between the USA and Russia, Poland has positioned itself clearly from the outset. It clearly opposes Russia and anything reminiscent of the Eastern Bloc era and, with the support of the USA, has built up one of the strongest armies in Europe to date. But that is not the end of the story. While Germany had missed NATO's 2% target for years until now, Warsaw announced that it would invest 5% of its total GDP in its armed forces in the future. The Polish Minister of Defense also announced that in 5 years' time the country would have the strongest land forces in Europe. However, Poland's rise is not only of a military nature. The country has also experienced incredibly rapid economic growth since the collapse of the Eastern Bloc. Many Poles living abroad are returning to their home country and bringing invaluable know-how with them. And the country also wants to become a global player in terms of technology in the coming years. So it's time we took a closer look at our neighboring country. How did Poland manage this rapid rise? How well is it already positioned, and could it become a European superpower? We look at all these questions in today's video. With the collapse of the Soviet Union and the entire Eastern Bloc, a new era dawned in Poland. Like so many other Eastern European countries, Poland wanted to leave all things socialist and communist behind and catch up with the economies of Western Europe as quickly as possible. The planned economy was immediately transformed into a market economy, and numerous state-owned companies were privatized within a very short space of time. Always with accession to the European Union in mind. And indeed, in the year 2004, Poland was able to join the Union along with a number of other Eastern European countries. And from then on, the country experienced a real economic boom. Since accession, for example, per capita GDP has risen by 81%. And to this day, Poland's economy is one of the fastest growing in Europe. Despite the effects of the pandemic and the war, the Polish economy grew by almost 5% in the year 2022. In comparison, German GDP grew by just 1.9%. Poland continued to catch up with the economies of Western Europe, and economists estimated that the country could become one of the 20 largest economies in the world by the year 2030. The leader of the Peace Party, which was in power in Poland at the time, even declared the ambitious goal of catching up with Germany economically by the year 2040. In another area, however, it could very soon overtake Germany, the military. For centuries, Poland was seen as a pawn in the hands of the major European powers. There were numerous invasions, and it was completely wiped off the map several times. And Poland believes that this must never happen again. Poland is therefore investing heavily in its military, particularly in view of the current threat from Russia. The already very high level of spending is to be increased to 5% of GDP, which will give it the highest percentage of military spending in the whole of NATO, even ahead of the USA. The Americans are very grateful to have a reliable partner in Europe. While Germany, which has traditionally been America's most important ally in the region, is engaged in endless debates about revitalizing its military and has no real strategic plan, things are very different in Poland. Poland has become our most important partner in continental Europe, said a high-ranking US Army official in Europe, referring to Poland's crucial role in supporting Ukraine and strengthening NATO's eastern flank. Poland also worked closely with the United States in the area of energy supply. In contrast to Germany, Poland announced that it would rely entirely on nuclear power to secure its own energy in the future. With the support of the USA and South Korea, numerous new nuclear power plants are to be built in the coming years and decades to make the country more independent in the long term. Poland is also at the forefront when it comes to technology. The government has already recognized the time of the times and invested massively in the tech scene and digital infrastructure. Warsaw, Gdansk and Krakow in particular are attracting numerous startups, and some are already talking about Silicon Polska. The video games industry in particular is also experiencing incredible growth, which is why Poland is now the European leader in this sector. Nevertheless, there are also problems in Poland. The leadership style of the former ruling Peace Party in particular has been heavily criticized. There was still a lot of catching up to do in areas such as freedom of opinion and freedom of the press. The immense military expenditure is also a major burden on the economy, the effects of which are yet to be seen. Nevertheless, we can conclude that Poland is currently well on the way to becoming a leading European power. This could lead to a major change in the balance of power within the EU. The Western European states in particular are currently at the center of the decision-making process. However, with Poland's rise, this could increasingly shift towards Eastern Europe, where a new power bloc could emerge.